Wife got another man in the delivery room in place of me while she was giving birth to our baby. Now she told me that she won't be having another kid with me and that the baby is hers only. Last month, my wife called me in a frenzy, telling me that her water had broken and that she was going into labor. This was incredibly shocking to both of us because she was still early in the pregnancy. The problem with this is that I was already on the road, about 30 minutes away, tending to my mother, who had just called to tell me that she was in an accident. Not a significant one, but it still shook her up. I told my wife to call an ambulance because I would not be turning around to drive her to the hospital and witness her birth. She yelled, cursed, cried, and screamed at me through the phone while I tried to calm her by telling her to call my sister if she didn't want to call an ambulance since my sister only lives 20 to 25 minutes away. After this, she went silent and hung up, and I didn't hear from her for about 1 hour and a half. I checked my phone for the first time since getting to my mother, and my sister sent me a video of my wife actively giving birth while holding her male friend's hand the way women squeeze their husband's hands for comfort during labor. My sister immediately followed up the video with a text that said, "When are you going to get here?" I ignored this text and asked her if she was the one who drove my wife to the hospital, and she responded no. I asked her who did, and she informed me that it was my wife's male friend, who lives only 10 minutes away, who drove her and was getting his hand squeezed by my wife. I ended up just asking my sister for the full story while I drove my mother back to her home since everything was sorted with the accident. Long story short, instead of calling my sister or an ambulance, my wife called her male friend, and I've always unliked but never informed my wife. I told my sister to get on FaceTime with me but not to make it obvious to anyone else in the delivery room, and I would stay silent on the other end. During the call, I saw my wife's friend rubbing her back, wiping her tears, comforting her when she screamed and cried, etc. I couldn't bear the sight and I ended the FaceTime and told my sister to inform my wife that I would be at the hospital the next day after work whenever she got out of labor. My sister called almost 2 hours later to tell me she left the hospital and that my wife would be staying the night. The next day around 3 to 4 p.m., when I went over to the hospital to see my wife and newborn son, she was not trying to hide her anger and saltiness from anyone in the room. That included mostly my family and some of hers. When I asked her why she was acting this way, she rolled her eyes and told me to leave her the F alone in front of everyone. Later when I tried to hold my son, she snatched him from my hands. In this hospital, visiting hours ended at 8, but all of the guests, excluding me, left by 6. When we were alone I finally got the chance to have a conversation with her about why she was being so salty on a memorable day that should have been filled with love and joy. She responded by getting angry and mumbling something about my audacity to miss her birth and be surprised that she's furious. I'm not proud of this, but in response